In the vast and mysterious oceans of Earth, a creature exists that can live forever.
Oh, look, a jellyfish. Let's beat it with a stick.
Ah, it is unfortunately doomed.
So, you want to live forever? Of course you do. Why wouldn't you? After all, taxes are exhausting, dentist appointments are expensive, and you're pretty sure your left knee has been whispering threats lately. So let's talk about immortality. Real, squelchy, science-backed immortality. Meet Turritopsis dohrnii, also known as the immortal jellyfish, also known as proof God was drunk when he invented biology. It lives in the ocean. It's about the size of your fingernail, and when faced with danger like disease, starvation, or the existential horror of being a jellyfish, it does the most metal thing imaginable. It turns into a baby. Literally, it reverses its life cycle, back to the polyp stage, back to its childhood, which, let's be honest, most of us would do if we could. But unlike you, it doesn't need therapy or wine to regress. And the best part? It can do this indefinitely, over and over, like Groundhog Day, but with more tentacles and less Bill Murray. So yes, we found the cheat code to death, a biological fuck you to the Grim Reaper, which raises a question.
If something can't die from age, is it actually immortal? Or is it just on borrowed time from entropy's loan shark? Because here's the twist. The immortal jellyfish dies all the time. Eaten, stepped on, boiled in climate change soup. You can beat death on paper, but the universe uses different ink. And that's what this is about. Immortality, fragility, and the baffling tragedy of being a squishy little miracle in a world that doesn't care. So, how does it work? How does this unholy, gelatinous miracle keep respawning like your cousin in Fortnite? Well, when the immortal jellyfish is stressed, and let's face it, who isn't? Its cells begin to de-differentiate, which is science speak for they forget what they are. Its muscle cells unmuscle, its nerve cells unnerve. Everything slithers backward into biological goo. Then it rebuilds itself from scratch. A bit like if, after a rough breakup, you simply returned to your embryonic form, waited a bit, and tried life again without all that emotional baggage and Spotify playlists. This isn't some one-off biological accident either. It's repeatable, reliable, rewindable. A creature that literally chooses not to die by pretending it was never born in the first place. And here's the kicker. It doesn't even know it's doing it. No holy mission, no fear of the void, just a lump of instinct wrapped in seawater, executing one of the most astonishing acts in the known biosphere. The universe accidentally built a thing that sort of kind of lives forever, and it gave it all the consciousness of a wet paper bag. No philosophy, no ego, no social media strategy, just a floating, twitching middle finger to the natural order of life, from something too dumb to even know that death was the rule. And this is what immortality looks like. Not a shining golden god, not a vampire in velvet. A blob with commitment issues. Of course, there's a catch. There's always a catch. Yes, the immortal jellyfish can rewind its biological clock. Yes, it can cheat death by old age, but it cannot, for example, cheat being very, very stupid. And I don't mean the charming kind of stupid, like locking your keys in the fridge. I mean the kind of stupid that forgets gravity exists, or that predators do in fact have mouths. See, Turritopsis dohrnii has no brain, no eyes, no opinions on tax policy. It floats through the ocean like a lost contact lens, hoping, though it doesn't know what hope is, not to be eaten by anything with teeth or accidentally inhaled by a passing whale. It has beaten aging, but not digestion. It can reverse time, but not physics. It can live forever, assuming it doesn't bump into anything sharp, angry, hungry, hot, cold, fast-moving, or otherwise alive. This miraculous, death-cheating blob is still incredibly good at dying. Tragically good, in fact, one might say. World-class. It gets caught in fishing nets. It gets poached by turtles. It gets microwaved by global warming, like a soft little popcorn kernel that never asked to evolve. It drifts, blissfully unaware, through a planet increasingly designed to kill it, which requires the question, is it really immortality if you keep dying all the time? That's just Groundhog Day with extra drowning. And the universe, in its infinite slapstick cruelty, never misses a chance to remind us that outliving death doesn't mean outliving fate. Because entropy doesn't knock. It enters through the ceiling, spills your drink, eats your jellyfish, and steals your shoelaces. So no, the immortal jellyfish does not survive forever. It just could, in theory. Which makes it, I suppose, the most tragic kind of immortal. The kind that never had a chance. Let's zoom out a bit, because it's not just jellyfish, is it? Nothing gets out of this alive. Not you, not me, not the Queen of England, and she gave it a really solid go. Not stars, not galaxies, not the memory of that time you said "you too" to the waiter after they told you to enjoy your meal. Everything goes. Everything burns, or breaks, or fades. Sometimes slowly, like the gentle dimming of a light bulb. Sometimes all at once, like your dignity during karaoke. And at the heart of it all, entropy. The slow, patient collapse of order into chaos. The reason your toast always lands butter side down. The reason your socks vanish in the wash. The reason your hard drive died the 1 week you didn't back it up. Entropy is not a villain. It doesn't cackle. It doesn't wear a cape. It just waits. And then, eventually, unthreads the seams of everything. Planets become deserts. Mountains crumble to dust. Black holes, once the vacuum cleaners of the cosmos, evaporate into nothing. And someday even atoms themselves will fall apart. Quietly, without drama. Like the end of a very long sigh. This isn't a metaphor. This is the current best guess of physics. It's called heat death. It's not as fun as it sounds. No fire, no bang, just a final cosmic shrug. Everything the universe ever was, spread too thin to do anything ever again. And if that doesn't fill you with a soft, trembling awe, then congrats, you might be a rock. But here's the kicker. Our jellyfish, our little death-reversing hero, is part of that same process. It may delay the end, dance circles around decay, hit rewind when others hit stop. But entropy doesn't need to hurry. It knows the game always ends. So yes, the immortal jellyfish will die. It will outlive aging, but not sharp rocks or hungry mouths, or the glacial collapse of meaning that waits at the edge of time. But even so, what a thing. What a ridiculous, exquisite thing. To drift for a while in a warm corner of the universe, where matter briefly remembers how to be alive. To pulse, blind and brainless, through a sea of chaos, unaware of how miraculous that pulsing is. A bit like my cousin Brian, to be fair. It will never write a poem. It will never invent jazz. It will never stare at a sunset and feel a vague sense of yearning without quite knowing why. But it exists. It was here. And it tried, in its own jelly way, to keep going. And maybe that's all any of us are doing. You, me, the jellyfish, fragile things, making strange noises in the dark, trying not to get eaten before we figure out what's going on. And sure, we will all be forgotten. By time. By history. By the stars themselves as they fold into black. But maybe significance is the wrong metric. Maybe it was never about being remembered. Or being immortal. Maybe it's just about being at all. To have been born at the right temperature. To have loved anyone or anything. To have laughed so hard you forgot why. To have felt, for a few bright moments, like you belonged on a planet full of talking monkeys and squishy, regenerating miracles. The immortal jellyfish will not witness the end of the universe, and neither will we. But for now, we're here. Pulsing, breathing, flickering against the dark. And that, as endings go, is not a bad one.